Doing lesson 9.6 in math, and I do want to tell you that this is probably one of my favorite lessons to teach because we get to figure out and use patterns in today's lesson. So, if you have not yet done so, go get your math book and open up to page 541 so that we can look at the learning target and come back, okay? All right, so today we're talking about your learning target today is I can use place value patterns to mentally count by ones and tens from a given number. And if you remember correctly, this here is called a hundreds chart, and we have used this already in the past several times, right? Some of us used to have it on our desk in class to help us out. So we're looking at place value patterns today to help us figure out numbers. All right, missing numbers. As you can see, we have missing numbers. So we have to be superheroes that are going to be solving this problem today, trying to find a missing number. And we're going to go to page 542. Open up to that page or flip to that page, and let's talk a little bit about what's happening here on the top. So when you look at a hundreds chart, there is numbers, right? And each number has a value. So for instance, here, the number 31, the 1 has a value of 1, and the 3 has a value of 3 tens or 30. The same thing here, the number 2, you have 2 is in the ones place, so its value is 2 ones, and the 3 is 3 tens or the number 30. And so this is why when we're reading, we say 31, 32, 33, 34, and so on. Looking at these numbers, there's a number in the ones place and a number in the tens place. And so when we're looking at the ones digit, we go up by 1 from left to right. So if you're at the number 31, and you go from here, which is left to right, your ones place digit always goes up by 1. So if you look at the ones place digit, it's a 1 here. You go to the right, it goes up to 2, which means it went up by 1. Remember, we did this in class, and we used to do plus 1, right? You go from 32 to 33. Look at your ones place goes up by 1. Right? So you could do plus 1 here. Now, if you keep going up, it's always going to go plus 1 if you're moving from left to right. Now, when you are going from top to bottom, you're moving, your tens digit is moving by 1 10. So if we are at number 34 and we go to the top to the bottom, you noticed our 3 tens went up by 1 10. So now we have 4 tens, right? That's why we have the number 44. And the same thing goes for 44 to 54. We went up by 1 10. So here you would write plus 10, right? So here it would be plus 10. When you're going from top to bottom, you're going up plus 10. So 37, 47, right? This is plus 10. And then the same thing here, plus 10. What do you think the next number would be after 57? So 37, 47, 57. What do you think the next number would be if I had another box here and I asked you to fill it out? What would you put for Miss G here in this box? 37 plus 10, 47 plus 10, 57 plus? Good, 57 plus 10, which means it would be what? What would be the next number? Right, 67, because it's going up by 10, right? 1 10 here, another 10 here, and another 10 here. Good. So today, we're doing the same thing. But now we have to make sure we're paying attention because we are working with 3 digits, right? We're doing place value patterns for ones, tens, all the way up to 1,000. Same thing. Your ones will go up by 1 if you're moving from left to right, right? This is left to right. And your tens place will go up by 110 if you go from top to bottom, yeah? So let's look at our first example here. I'm so excited. So here we have the number. We're going to start from left to right to see if we can fill out all of our boxes, right? So we have 784, 785. Notice the ones are going up. The tens is the same, and the hundreds is the same. 786. So the next number would be 787, right? Only our ones place is going up because we're going from left to right. Yes, this is the way we're moving. We're moving from left to right. So every time we go up to the right, yeah, our ones place goes up. The tens stays the same, and 100 stays the same. The only thing that changes is the number in the ones place. 788. Move one box to the right. This would be 789. Notice only the number in the tens place, the ones place is changing. Now from 789, the next number up, something very interesting happens. We go to 790 because adding 1 here means I am now making my ones place a whole 10. And if we have a 10, we need to move that 10 over to the tens place, right? So now we have 790. Yes? 790 because our 10 here needs to move over to the tens place. So this 8 changes into a 9, and now I have 0 ones left. So now we're going to look at these here, and I'm going to quickly just go through it because I want us to try this one. Same thing here, we start. Notice here, they're starting from 794. They're not, the thousands place is not changing. What's changing? Right, your tens place, right? Your tens place changes when we're going from top to bottom. So when you're at the bottom here, you know you go 784, so the next number will be 794. And so counting on, you do the same thing. You're moving to the right, so only your ones place is moving here because we're going to the right. Yeah, and going to the right means my ones place number is changing. So 794, 795, 796, 797, 798, 799, and 800. Why do you think we're at 800 here? Right, because 799, when I add a 1 to my ones place, this becomes a 10. I take that 10 and I move it over here, and this becomes a 10. So then I take that 10 and I have to move it over here now, right? Because 10 tens is 100. I have to move that 100 here, so now it becomes 800. Now, here's something interesting that happens. When we go from 794, why do you think my tens place goes from a 9 to a 0? Why do you think? Right, because when I add 110, look over here, if I have 794, right, and I add a 10 to here, let's just say I'm adding a 10, yeah, this stays 4, this becomes how much? Right, 10 tens. So 10 tens means I have to take it, my 110, and move it into my hundreds place. So 700s plus 100s is 800s, right? 10 tens is 100. Remember, this is your ones place, your tens place, and your hundreds place, right? So if I have 9 tens plus 110, that's 10 tens, and 10 tens is 100. So that's why we moved it here, so that we know there's 100 from here coming. This is 0, and the 100 goes over here. All right? Okay. So we're going to try question 2 together, and then you're going to try it on your own. Okay? There's some strategies here that's going to help you. So the first thing is we're going to fill out everything to the right. All right? So starting at 412, if we are going to the next number to the right, what does not change? My number in the what? Right, my number in the hundreds place stays the same, and my number in the 10 place stays the same. Correct. Ooh. So, hold on one second. Those two numbers stay the same, right? My numbers in the ones place and my number in the hundreds place. So I'm going to write 400, and so what changes? The number in the ones place. So 413, very good. So it becomes 413. Now 413 plus 1, 414, plus 1, 415, very good. Only the number in the ones place is changing. You notice? 4 to 5 to 6. Now what comes after 416? Correct, 417. Now the next row, you can do this several ways. You can do the same thing by counting to the right, or you can count down to help you out. So let's try down. Since we did this one to the right, let's try down and see what happens, okay? So 413. I now want to go down my hundreds chart. Remember, when we're going down looking at our tens digit. So 400 stays the same because I'm looking at my tens digit. What will happen here? Right, my tens digit is the one that changes. So I have to add 110 to this, right? So what's 413 plus 110? Right, 400, my 110 plus another 10 equals 210. Does the number in the ones place change? No, it does not. The number in the ones place stays the same because we're not moving right, we're moving top to bottom. So only the number in the tens place changes. Okay? Here, the same thing. Now we can continue this way, but I want to go top to bottom. So 414. What would the number here be? What are we adding? Right, 110. So you could do plus 10 and add a 10. So 414 plus 110 would be 424. Very good. Now, if I wasn't sure, I could look at my number from left to right, and here the number in the ones place is the number that has to change. So 422 plus 1 is 423. So was this number right? Yes. 423 plus 1 is 424. So was this number right? Yes. So you could figure out either way, right? You could do from top to bottom, right? Changing your tens, or from left to right and changing your ones. You can do both. You could choose one. It's up to you. So let's do this one. 425. I want to go to the right. Instead of going to the bottom, I want to go to the right. So what's 425? What comes after 425? Right, 426, right? 426. And then what comes next after that? 427, and after that, 428. Yes, very good. Now, same thing. I can go from top to bottom and see if my number indeed went up by 110. So my 100 stays the same and my 1 stays the same. Let's see. I have the 4 in the hundreds place and the 8. What number changes? My number in the tens place, right? And so 110 plus another 10 gives me 2 tens. Is that what we have here? Yep, very good. All right, boys and girls. So you're going to try and figure out this mystery on your own. You're going to do these two, right? And then when you're done with page 542, I want